Hey guys, Andrew Stroud. I'm here in the sideboard with Todd Anderson.
How's
it going, Todd?
How's it going, Andrew? How you doing?
Pretty good. And you're doing all right yourself.
Not bad, not bad.
You've gotten out to a X1 start with Mono Green Devotion. This is a deck that you've been tinkering with for the last week or so. I know you played it in a Versus video earlier this week.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about this deck and why you chose to play it this weekend.
So I had the choice basically between this and Mono Black, and I don't want to play Mono Black ever again if I can help it, even though I know at some point I'm going to have to. I hate it. So I wanted to have a little fun today. I had a lot of fun in our Versus video against BBD where I got to do things such as make 12/12 Genesis Hydras on turn 4. But that was mostly due to his lack of Thoughtseize and/or Supreme Verdict. So.
Okay. So the card that I think kind of really bolsters this deck into the spotlight from M15, of course, Nissa Worldwaker.
Yeah, that's my boo. Nissa, my boo.
All right, all right.
Yeah, I played the old school Eldrazi Monument mono green deck with Nissa Ravane back in
I remember
Zendikar.
that.
Yeah, you remember it fondly. But I also remember it fondly. But Nissa's always had a place in my heart, and I'm really glad they reprinted her.
For sure.
And honestly, she's really good. Like really, really good. So, yeah.
All right. The other, of course, the other M15 card that's really making waves here is Court of Calling.
Yeah, I don't know why they reprinted that card because it's real good. Today I've done such interesting things as cast Hornet Queen and then end of your turn, tap all my guys, Court of Calling for like, I don't know, Polukranos, untap, Polukranos for 14.
Nice.
So things like that have been happening.
Yeah, I never realized until just now that that with Court of Calling, Hornet Queen is basically a Burning Tree emissary.
Yeah, it's awesome. I actually considered playing like more copies of Hornet Queen in the main deck just so I could raw dog cast them and then start courting end of turn. But it's a really good bullet. It's been awesome against things like Desecration Demon. Any deck that's trying to flood the board, it's been sweet. So
yeah, I know that in your earlier versions you had a lot of one-ofs to court for. You've kind of trimmed that package down. Just the one Hornet Queen and one Nylea.
Yeah.
In the main deck.
Yeah, I mean, Court of Calling, in a lot of shelves, is going to be a way to search for bullets, but this format is not really about having very specific silver bullets for things. Like, Mono Green doesn't really have something it can tutor for off Court of Calling to beat, like, Mono Black, Mono Blue, and so when you start drawing things like Reclamation Sage when they don't have an enchantment, or you start drawing Nylea's Disciple in a matchup where it doesn't matter, cards like that just are bad, and I would much rather just be able to Court of Calling and have 8 virtual Polukranoses against decks where I want to always have a Polukranos. It gives me 5 copies of Nylea in matchups where I want a Nylea. It's been an absurd card, and I've been loving it so far.
Okay. Now in the sideboard, actually, you do have a couple more bullets. You have a Reclamation Sage, a Phyrexian Revoker, and this is a spicy one, one Fido Titan.
So we put Fido Titan into play this round against Morgan Chang. Off camera, it was in the faux feature match.
Yep.
And he was playing Mono Black. And he kind of slumped a little bit in his chair when it came into play because he knew it was going to be a long uphill battle fighting that guy. But, like, I don't know, just crashed in for 7 a bunch. He didn't really want to burn removal spells on it because it was just going to come back. And that's exactly what I wanted for it. It was great.
Of course.
So.
All right, and then of course, the last of the M15 editions, you have 2 Genesis Hydra. You mentioned this card earlier. You've made some big ones.
Yeah.
How's this card been for you?
Well, as you can see the gigantic grin on my face, I have Genesis Hydra for 10, 14, 12, 5, 7, it doesn't matter. You're going to get something awesome off of it. I've done it for 14 trying to find my Hornet Queen when my opponent had 2 Stormbreath Dragons in play. Like, we've gone pretty hard so far today.
Yeah, it's legit.
But he's been sweet. Like, he's obviously a little bad against decks with a lot of removal because you need your mana creatures to really ramp out into a big one.
Yeah.
Also, the more removal your opponent has, the worse your Nykthoses get.
Yeah, sure.
But in the matchups where they're not pressuring your creatures, having the ability to have this giant mana dump that lets you find your Polukranos for another mana dump, or finding your Nylea for a mana dump, or just finding a giant Hornet Queen or whatever is awesome.
Right. And of course, in the situations where they do cut your mana guys out from under you, just casting it for like 2 to go and dig for a Voyaging State or something like that is not the worst.
I really wish you could get a land with it.
Right.
It would be a phenomenal Magic card. Right now, I think it's just okay.
Sure.
And it's not going to see play outside of any deck that doesn't play Nykthos in a green shell. I don't think, because its effect is just more powerful when you have access to more mana. And something like a fair deck would much rather just be casting like a Garruk or something.
Right.
Like that.
Okay.
So Garruk, Apex Predator.
Fair enough. All right. What are you hoping to play against when you're playing this deck? What are the good matchups?
I don't know. I played a little bit. I want to play against decks that don't have Supreme Verdict, I think. Those are going to be the ones that are usually okay. I did lose to Boss Sly earlier. My opponent played Ash Zealot and then Madcap Skills, and that's pretty hard for a deck without removal to beat.
Okay.
But other than that, you know, I think my deck's fine. Like, I thought Black was going to be a little iffy with their a lot of spell removal and life bane zombies.
Right.
But I've beaten it twice so far, and my last round opponent, Morgan Chang, playing Mono Black.
Okay.
His I mean, his draws weren't bad. You know.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, they 1-for-1 you a lot, but you do go way over the top once you get your late game going.
You go crazy. If you draw
Right.
multiple mana accelerators, it's really hard for them to keep up. Their pack rats are actually like not very good when you like cast Pull Kranos. They have to spend a whole turn killing that instead of making a pack rat, and that allows you to buy another turn. So if you can continually put pressure on them to keep them from making pack rats, you'll usually be okay. Courser Crewfix lines up really well actually against Lifebane Zombie. They can't block. You're usually going toe-to-toe with the life back and forth because you're attacking for 2 and gaining 1, while they're attacking for 3 and gaining 0. So.
Sure. All right, and of course the follow-up question is like, what are you not hoping to play against? I think you kind of already answered that.
Yep,
yeah.
Sorry.
So the control decks basically just sweepers the real problem there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it could be that Nissa is just so good that I can overcome these sweeper decks. But for the most part, like I'm actually playing 25 lands because I was afraid of sweepers, and a lot of lists play like 22 lands and play 4 Sylvan Carotid, as well as the Elvish Mystics and the Void Dictators. But like, I want to make my deck a little less vulnerable. I also want to make Nissa's untapped land ability a little bit better. I want to make sure I had a steady stream of lands for Courser and Nissa to turn into creatures. So that's the way we went with that. I'm not sure if it's correct. I actually cut the Darksteel Citadel last minute. I feel like I should have it in my deck, but I cut it. I feel bad about it.
There's still time to.
I would have liked. Yeah, I mean, there's 2 weeks before the Pro Tour. I'm not sure if I'm going to play this deck or not, but I'm loving playing it right now, and that's as much as I can ask for.
All right, fair enough. Loving it, and off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
We're in round 6 now, right?
This is round 5. I'm 4-1.
4. All right. I'll lose track of time.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah, but 4-1. You actually already have an open trophy from here in Baltimore, right?
I have 2.
You have 2?
Well, I have 1.5. Because I think I scooped to Chris Van Meter in the finals for points, but I beat him, and I got a trophy.
Okay, so going for the 3-peat then.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for you. Thanks for sitting down with me, Todd. Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming of the Standard Open here in Baltimore.
Catchphrase.